Thank you for tuning in for the next installment of our discussion on Dark. If you haven't already, check out the previous episodes to get filled in on all the details, and spoiler alert for Dark ahead. It's time to talk about the final time travel device, which isn't really a time travel device in itself, but it is a device and it is interesting and it does create a lot of problems that the characters have to solve in the show. And so I think it's worth talking about for that reason. The last device we will call the Origin Apparatus. It was also created by H.G. Tannhaus, as two of the previous ones were created, and it was created in the Origin reality inside the bunker. The construction of this device takes 13 years and was built in response to the death of Tannhaus's son and his family. The intention of the device, we can assume, was to open a portal to the past in order to rescue his son from certain death. That would make sense, as it's the function of all of the other time machines in the show to transport you from one time to another. As a side effect of the activation of the machine, however, a parallel reality was created. And as discussed previously, because the reality that was created was deterministic, the two realities that did end up becoming created were created simultaneously at that moment. In addition to that, the passage underneath the machine became the wormhole that Tannhaus wanted to create, as intended. Jonas and Altmartha, with the help of the Eve apparatus, were able to go to that portal and enter it and proceed to save the Tannhaus family, preventing the creation of the device in the first place. So in thinking about the Origin Apparatus, I have a hard time classifying it because it does so many different things and it causes so many things in the show to happen. It's basically a unique classification in itself. It does indeed open a rift to the past, a portal essentially that will transport someone from one point in time to another, specifically from one point in time, the activation of the device, to the moments before Tannhaus's son was killed. But it also created people to go into that device, essentially. We'll talk a little bit more in a future episode on the consequences of the Origin reality and what this apparatus does exactly to cause the saving of Tannhaus's family, and what it really means to have activated this machine. So in conclusion, talking about the time machines, we have 4 types of time machines. We have the Origin Apparatus, which, as I said earlier, deserves a classification of its own. It's quite unique, and it doesn't really lend itself to any of these other categories. Then we have wormholes. The passage and the God particle are examples of this, letting the user step into it and come out the other end at another place. The wormholes do different things. One only transports you in time, and the other one transports you in time and space. But essentially, a person goes in, and then they come out somewhere else. Then we have the active apparatuses with Adam and Eve's apparatuses, which can be used by a person to travel from one point in time to another, Eve's giving a little bit more flexibility, and Adam's being locked into a 33-year cycle. And then we have the reactive apparatus, which is the bunker, which cannot be activated on its own, but lends power from the wormhole that is underneath it to transport someone from one place to another. Of course, all of these are really unique in and of themselves. I can try to classify them into different types of time machines, but in the end, all 6 of these have something unique about them, and they're used in different ways in the show. Like I said earlier, the 2 wormholes aren't exactly the same. But we can learn things from each of these and apply them to other scenarios and our own stories with variations of what was used here, and I think it's just really interesting to see a lot of different time machines, a lot of different mechanics working together to create such a beautiful show. The time machines are just used so brilliantly to create something truly unique. I mean, most of the time we have one time machine in a show, and that's enough, because that one time machine is going to get us everywhere that we need to go for certain plot points in the show. But this show had 6 different ways that you could time travel, which is just remarkable to me that someone can pull this off and make something so organized and so complex, but still have logical conclusions and have a universe that's self-consistent and deterministic and just works. All of these have things that could potentially break everything, but none of them do. And I think that's really fascinating in a study of how to use different time machines together and using different methods of time travel to create something interesting. And that's really what I think Dark excelled at a lot, was combining all of these different elements together to create something truly unique. This concludes my summary of the time machines and the methods of time travel used in Dark. Next time, we're going to start talking about the bootstrap paradox a lot more and its applications in the show. As always, thank you for watching.